This video is brought to you by Vibrant Performance and EMindustries.com. I mean, look at this new Forgotten Honda's design. And that poster? Oh! Check it out to buy some merch and support the channel. In the last video with the Accord, I had decided that was it. I had done everything I wanted to do to this car. Transformed the interior, did all the suspension, brake upgrades, wheels and tires. I even turboed the dang thing. I was happy from that point on with it being a comfortable, reliable daily. But then I wised up. Dailies are for losers. Race cars are for winners. I decided it needed more horsepower. It needed a cooler turbo setup. I decided I wanted to take it to the track, see what it does in the quarter mile. I decided I'm okay with blowing it up. And I hope I don't regret my decision. And so in this video, we are going to fabricate a new intercooler setup for the car, turn up the boost, and see what kind of power it will make. Why new intercooler setup? Why more boost? Let me show you. See, this ain't it. And this ain't it for a couple of reasons. The obvious is the long intercooler pipe going across the engine bay, getting nice and hot. We did this because we used an off-the-shelf intercooler, which had an inlet on one side and an outlet on the other. One side of the car, the other side of the car. Yeah, I think you guys can get that. This is a problem because it adds a lot of length to the intercooler system, so it increases response time, and it gets heat soaked in traffic or when you're sitting in the pits on a track day that I've never done. And then this little thing right here, manual boost controller. The problem with that is that the boost tapers pretty badly. So when it kicks in, it hits about 7 pounds of boost. By redline, we're at 5 pounds of boost. Woo, 2 pounds of boost. That's like 40 horsepower. And so we can switch to an electronic boost controller, which will increase boost as we go up the RPM, and it will make it so the boost kicks in faster. Sounds like a win to me, but what do we need to do all of that? Woo! Some of these things I know are for the EP3, but the other stuff, HD clamps. Woohoo, baby, that's nice. Totally billet. Drive on one side, V on the other. No tools required. You push the button, push that in, and it opens up. Listen to this. This is the aluminum transition we're gonna use to transition from the turbo outlet into one of these HD clamps. As you can see, fits perfectly right there. This is 2-inch aluminum piping to come off the turbo. So it'll come off the turbo, go into this HD clamp. This is just some more aluminum tubing. The HD clamps are really the star of the show. No longer will we have silicone couplers. No longer will we need tools to remove and install the intercooler piping. The nice thing about these new ones is that they're pinless, so this thing can't fall apart, and it's very satisfying. These things are gonna make this look absolutely legit. But, on to the next stuff. I think we found where our intercooler piping is. This too is all for the EP3. Just a little teaser. All of this is just more 2.5-inch UJ sections, which in my opinion is the best way to purchase metal. Boom, you have some straight sections and plenty of curves to make whatever you want. Oh baby, this is it. Intercooler. Looks small and unassuming, but this thing weighs like a good amount of weight. I feel like it's like a core to a nuclear reactor or something. Look at how thick it is, how long it is. That's gonna be a beefy intercooler. My God. So the difference with this thing, unlike the current intercooler, which is kind of tall and air from the engine goes in through the length of it, this is a vertical flow intercooler. So air goes from the bottom to the top. That means we can do the entrance and the exit on the same side. And then of course, this is not an actual finished intercooler. It's just a core. So we have to make the intakes, the thing that goes on the top and the bottom that the air actually comes in and distributes through. That's why I was a little scared about this. I mean, look at it. So obviously a huge thanks to Vibrant Performance for sending all of this out. Whether you just want to put a new muffler on your car, need a new air filter, or you want to do an entire build on your race car, Vibrant Performance has it all. So check them out. But now we got to put these parts on, which means we got to take the old parts off. So we got to get this thing in the air, get the bumper off, then we can remove all the intercooler piping, intercooler, and I think we might even have to remove the turbo. There we go. Very nice. I think I can use this intercooler for a different project in the future. Ugh. This thing looks naturally aspirated. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Now, one thing we're gonna go and do, we're going to remove the crash bar and fabricate a new, just kind of bash bar, very similar to what we did on the EP3, just to clear up some room, clear up some weight. I also am gonna relocate the external temperature sensor to inside the engine bay. I'd much rather know what the engine bay temps are than what it is outside. I know what it is outside normally, so I think that'd be kind of a neat little thing, little quirky little feature. Just a little idea of our new intercooler. Way wider, way bigger. It's gonna be taller too. It's just gonna be bigger in all dimensions. Very nice. So obviously we can't build the intercooler and all the piping with it like this because we need to know where the headlights and stuff are. So we're gonna do part of the bash bar first. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest the bracket that bolts to the frame rail from this factory bash bar, and then we can just add our own tubing. Oh no! Dose. Oh, great, more scrap. I need a tow rig, or I need to finish the bed on the drift truck because I need to haul some metal, man. I need a truck. I need a truck that can do work stuff. Yeah, we're gonna clean these up a bit, and then that'll be it. That's cleaned up. Oh God, not my phone. There we go. We'll be able to build our bash bar off that. So the first step is to make our intercooler core an intercooler and then mount it. That way we can do all the other stuff around that. The end tanks are gonna be 3 inches tall each to try to keep this thing slim. It is still gonna be pretty big. I mean, it's gonna be 6 inches taller than this, so it's gonna go all the way up here, which means we're gonna have to lower it, which means we're gonna have to change the mounts. End tanks are gonna kind of start up here, taper down, and then it'll be kind of angled at the end, so both of the pipes will kind of come up and meet together and go out. I think it'll be pretty cool. It should be pretty easy with the plasma cutter. The plasma cutter and a crap ton of aluminum. 682 by 103 by 76. So this is the design I made with some cardboard. I think it looks pretty good. Fits nicely. I mean, you can tell like the bottom of this end tank is even to the subframe, so it can't really go any lower. And then the top of that end tank is even with the headlights, so it can't really go higher. This is kind of as big as I can make it without doing more modification. And then of course, flanges right there. So there and there, both the intercooler pipes will come down and go up. And then the bash bar can kind of go up and around that. So I think that's good. I think that's good. I might make the top just a little bit taller. So this is the finished end plate. Let's go ahead and cut it out. So we got all of our pieces, and now it is time to assemble the tank. I'm gonna go ahead and see how it feels on the intake. I think it looks pretty good. Fits nicely, looks good, simple. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack that together. The intake is tacked together. We're gonna wait until it's tacked to the intercooler core to fully weld it. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and make the other intake, tack that all together, and then we can, weld it all up. Looking pretty sick. It looks like a legitimate high horsepower turbo Honda now, or it's going to at least. And this core, it's like a 900 horsepower, 800 horsepower intercooler core. So like this intercooler is definitely bigger than what we need, but I mean, it's gonna look like a beast. So that is our new in-tank, and then this is our last in-tank. Try to tack it to the intercooler. Easy, nothing special. And with that, our intercooler is totally done. That time lapse was an hour, and it barely even scratched how much welding I had to do on this. It took me about 4.5 hours to weld this thing fully up. Now, obviously I was taking breaks, letting the welder and the metal cool down a bit, but look at all the filler rod I went through. That's why, custom intercoolers aren't for everyone. But that was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. We got our Vibrant clamps on here. Very nice, looking awesome. And voila. I also uploaded the CAD file for these intercooler intakes on emindustries.com for free. So if you happen to get this Vibrant Performance intercooler core and you want to make this exact intercooler, you can. So now we can get started with mounting this thing, because we got to mount it and then we can build the intercooler piping. Now for the old intercooler, I just welded some tabs off the subframe. We're gonna do things a little bit different. We're going to build the bash bar, and then we're going to mount the intercooler off the bash bar. So if I ever want to, I can just take the entire thing off by removing the bash bar. It's all one piece, boom, comes off. I also think it's gonna be sturdier that way, because you're welding it to a solid bash bar versus the thin sheet metal of like the subframe thing. So let's get this thing over there and kind of figure this out. we have to build the mount.
Not to trim the bumper, but hey, I think we got that pretty good. Mother. So the bumper now fits for the most part. I need to do just a tad more trimming, but it's essentially there. Definitely more a race car. I mean, you can see the like the brackets for the intercooler stick out a little bit, which is kind of sick. And then the vertical and how it, I mean, it fills up every square inch of that grill. But it's really placed perfectly. Anyway, we're gonna go and pull that off, and then we can fully weld and brace up the bash bar, and then we can continue. So while the bash bar dries, what we're gonna go ahead and do is actually work on the turbo and the throttle body. By that, I mean we have to add a flange to the turbo outlet and the throttle body. Throttle body is easy, we'll just remove it, weld it on. The turbo is a little difficult because it's kind of, you know, it's a bit tight right there. And getting the bolts off of it and getting this housing off is a bit tight. Can we do it without removing the entire turbo? Let's find out.
I really have no right to be able to do this. Where this last bolt is, in between the mount and turbo and the oil drain, I can remove the oil drain to make it much easier. But, oh man, that was such a huge pain in the ass to put in the first place. I can reach a wrench up there, but I don't have enough room to even rotate a full tooth of the 12-point side. But I found two of the same size wrenches that have the teeth slightly offset. So I just have to go back and forth between two wrenches. There we go. Ha-ha! I did it! So the first thing is gonna be cutting this flange off, right? And then cleaning up the cast aluminum around it.
Got it all taped up on the back so it's protected. So we got that there, just kind of resting in place. And then this is, obviously needs to be cut, but this is our U right here. So we're gonna actually have it go all the way until right here where the clamp will be. Doing a Gingium Classic here. I think I needed slightly less than 90 degrees, so I'm just gonna cut it. Smiling peace. Hope it works. Now I'm gonna assemble this little test piece. HD clamp. Let's see how this thing fits. Pretty good if I say so myself. All right, a couple tacks and beads to hold this thing together. Let's continue. So now we just gotta mark the turbo where we want to cut or weld it onto that. I think the best way to do that is just to tape a straight piece of pipe onto here so we kind of know. Take two. Pull that off.
So I got the flange welded onto the throttle body, and I can kind of show you a little bit better how this works. So they've got an O-ring on each flange, right? You put the sleeve on, which fits snugly over the O-ring. So say this will be bolted to the engine, I'll put my intercooler pipe on, and then I'll take the sleeve, and there you are. So you can install, uninstall the intercooler piping without any tools. The cool thing is that this stuff still has movement. So you see, still can move around, it can move in, it can move out, so it can flex with your engine, so you don't need solid motor mounts to use these things. And obviously compared to silicone couplers, looks better, can handle way more boost, and it doesn't expand and contract as you get into boost and get out of boost, so a little bit more response time. Like once it's actually on the engine, like it's so easy to work on. All right, so that's the finished result. We got the throttle body with the HD clamp. We've got the turbo with the HD clamp and stuff welded on it. And I made a heat shield for it out of the heat shield that Vibrant sent me. This stuff is really awesome. It's like a embossed aluminum with some sort of cloth material in between. You shape it, you rivet it together, and then I powder coated it to make it look good. I think that it looks sick. It looks super OEM plus. Now we gotta connect the engine and the turbo to the intercooler. The challenge here is going to be fitting both the intercooler pipes here with the fog light. So the fog light is kind of like right here. We have to get both of them down and under. I don't know if it's gonna be possible, but we're gonna try. The first thing I think we are going to try to do is repurpose one of the old intercooler pipes. So this was the one that was on this side, you know, that went up to there, that went down to there. If I cut it and modify it here and cut it and modify it there, I think we can make something work. So I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, after messing around with a bunch of different cuts and stuff, I got this to fit pretty much perfectly. I think I'm gonna try taping this on because I just don't wanna commit to anything and then it not work. All right, there we go. All right, I'm gonna go and build this top one now. So it's gotta come down, pretty much hug this other one in order to clear the fog light. It still might not clear the fog light, but we're gonna try our best here. So we got both of those, you know, kind of taped together. The top one is not yet all the way to the throttle body, but I want to test fit the bumper to see if it's even going to come close to clearing. Obviously, there's nothing else I can really do. So if it doesn't clear, then, you know, it doesn't clear, whatever. Oh, actually, I think it might actually clear. Oh, it's going to clear. Oh, yeah. I did it. I did it. Hooray. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart. Tack together the bottom one. Time to do some welding. So this tack together intercooler pipe is in. You can see all the flex that it has. I mean, look at that. Like, it really does have a lot of movement. Made it really easy to get in. Yeah, look at that. I mean, I think that looks freaking sweet. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack together this one and then we can finish it up. I do believe in order to remove the top one, we'll probably have to remove the headlight because there's not a whole lot of space for the entire tube to go in, but we'll see. Well, a lot of time cutting later, got it to fit perfectly. In fact, it's so perfect right now that this seam right here isn't even taped together, nor is that one, and it's just chilling there. So that's pretty freaking sick. Look how rowdy this looks. This looks pretty race car, I love it. So I'm gonna pull this section off, tack it together, pretty much tack the entire thing together, see if we can remove it with the headlight being in there. You know, the only tricky part is gonna be getting the flange in this corner out through there, because I don't know. And then we are actually gonna have to remove the intercooler again. I'm realizing I need to add a blow-off valve somewhere, and instead of adding it up here where it kind of looks ugly and there's not really a good spot to put it, we're just gonna put it right here on the top, just boom, slam dab on the top of the intercooler. I think that'd be kind of cool. Would you look at that? Got it in, all good to go. So now, yet again, gonna pull everything out, weld it all the way up, and then we can put the blow-off valve in. All right, boost controller, and then a dyno session. This is our boost controller. It is a Greddy Profac electronic boost controller. The cool thing about this boost controller is that it pretty much has its own ECU. Normally, in order to run an electronic boost controller, you need some sort of aftermarket or factory ECU that has the capability of doing that. Well, a lot of cars don't have that capability. For instance, this Accord. The stock ECU cannot run an electronic boost controller. So you need an electronic boost controller that can run itself. That's where this comes into play. So it's got its own little computer. It has a very cool little screen where you can adjust all the settings. You've got low boost settings, high boost settings. You have a scramble button setting. You can get optional extras, so you can do boost by gear, all sorts of crazy stuff. What this is gonna be able to do is allow us to increase boost as RPM increases, therefore preventing the boost from tapering off. And it also allows us to hold the wastegate closed until boost hits. So the car should spool faster. And it's pretty simple to install. So let's do it. So the electronic boost controller is installed. Over there you can see the actual solenoid valve. I made a little powder coated bracket to attach it down here. You've got the two lines going to the two ports on the wastegate. Then you actually have the controller for everything right there. Last thing to do is go ahead and install the actual little screen somewhere in the interior. And then we can put this thing on the dyno. Ignition on. Hey, yo. That thing is sick. So this is awesome. You've got different modes, so you can turn it. Let's see, it's off right now. Then you can do it low boost or high boost. Yeah, very nice. Okay, it works. Now, the one unfortunate thing about putting this thing on the dyno is that in order to fit it onto the dyno, we have to max out the front coilovers. And then we do also have to just kind of put the front bumper back on and stuff, obviously. Wow. car is on the dyno all set up. I got the last graph all set up as well. As you can see, look at how it tapers at the top end. It makes peak horsepower right at 5,500 RPM. And by redline, up at 68, 7,000, it's making almost 50 less horsepower. See the 384 up there. So we can go ahead and get started. I did just check the oil because I haven't done that in a while. Bro, there was no oil on the dipstick. This thing leaks a little bit of oil, not really bad at all, but it does burn a decent amount of oil. 200,000 miles, remember guys, 200,000 miles. But see, that's the awesome part about Honda. No oil in the dipstick, twice the factory horsepower, almost 200,000 miles, ripping, still no problem. The first thing we have to do is go ahead and calibrate the dyno. So that's just, you hold it at 3,000 RPM and set the dyno speed. Dyno's calibrated. Now we're gonna do our first baseline run. Remember, the car's already tuned. It's ready for as much boost as we can throw at it, besides the fact that there's a boost cut at 8.5 PSI. So we'll stay under that. But the first one we're gonna do is with the boost controller off. It says off boost. It should make somewhere around 4 to 5 PSI of boost. And it should be a similar curve. So the first thing, before actually just ripping on it, I want to make sure the boost opens. So I'm just gonna do like a little test here. Okay. Good. It cleared nicely. So now we will clear the dyno here, get ready to click start, and get ready to do a run. Go, start, forward. This boost controller is fucking sick, dude. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see on the small little thing, but it actually shows you a graph of the boost. But see, you can even see on this, it tapers off a little bit without any boost control on. So you can see that made, quite a bit less horsepower. Already it's spooling faster. Interesting, so that's cool. It's that intercooler kit working well. Made 324 horsepower. About right for, 3-4 pounds less than what we were at peaking last time. So now we're gonna turn the boost controller on. And yeah, let's see what happens. Low boost, and then we can go set and gain. We're gonna leave. We should be able to go. So theoretically, it should make the same amount of boost, maybe kick in a little bit faster, but we're not worried about that yet. And forward. Let's see, so we made a peak of 4 pounds of boost, and it still tapers off at the top end, as you can see there. Essentially an identical graph, which is good. That means the boost controller is not trying to do anything funky, since it's pretty much turned off right now. I mean, it's turned on, but it's at wastegate pressure. All right, so now we're gonna go into mode. We're gonna do 5%. Will that give us 1 pound of boost, 2 pounds of boost, 0 pounds of boost? Now you can try it again. Start, forward. So that made the exact same amount of boost. So we're gonna go ahead and just immediately go, and I'm gonna turn it up to 10%. Start, forward. No more boost again. Is there potentially something wrong with this thing, eh? Good news is that it's very consistent. 20% duty cycle, all right? Let's see. Start and forward. All right, there's a test mode I figured out that can allow you to just manually actuate the actuator, see if it's making noise, doing stuff, so we're gonna do that. It's definitely making noise. It really doesn't start making noise after like 20%. So let's just try another one, and let's just raise the boost more, I guess. I'm gonna set this to 30%. Forward. It made a little bit more horsepower. or a little bit more boost, sorry. 40%. All right, let's just do it again. So that one made 5.3 pounds of boost. So it is working now. All right, that's good. Very, very good. So these are the 3 runs now. The top one, obviously the old setup. The bottom one was wastegate pressure, and this new one is not even a full pound more, making 20 more horsepower from everywhere up from 3,000. From 3,000 on, that boost controller is doing some stuff, so that's cool. Let's just try 50. It might be a bit aggressive, but let's try it. Forward. You know, another 1.5 pounds, so yeah. And look at that. It's actually, even just as is, holding peak much better. Probably has something to do with the intercooler setup and just with it being an electronic boost controller. Like even without adjusting the gain setting, that's awesome. I'm gonna go up a little bit slower now. I'm gonna do 55. Start, forward. 392, we've officially gotten higher than our previous session on less boost. So that's very good. This thing is working so well. I love it. Everything still sounds in one piece over here, so that's good. This is nice and cold. That's awesome. I mean, look, I can do this after a run, and this. The only part that's hot is, even that's not that hot. That's working very well. Peaked at 7.4, so we want to peak at like 8. So we want to just go up a little bit higher. So I'm gonna do set 57%. This is a comparison of the runs again. As you can tell, we're making boost sooner. It's making less boost, so this is where the old run makes a little bit more horsepower. But at the top end, this setup is holding boost better. Okay. Start, forward. Made 0.2 more of a boost. Since we're really close to what we want our starting boost to be, I'm gonna start adjusting some of the settings as well. So I'm gonna increase set by 1%. I'm now gonna increase gain by 5, see if that does anything. I'm gonna increase start up to 5.5, so that should hopefully kick the boost in faster. And, but yeah, that's all. Start, and let's forward. Oh yeah, that was perfect. Hey, 407, that's the number right there. I'm gonna adjust a couple things here. Do 15% gain, a little back-to-back run, forward. Definitely working better still. Very nice. The dash line was, you know, the old setup. As you can see, tapers off at the top end. The red one was our 400 horsepower. This other one was the one that we just did, a little warm, but it does carry a little bit better to the red line. So I turned gain up a little bit, and hopefully we'll see that continue. Horsepower right there, buddy. Held so nicely the red line. Oh, that was definitely the most boost of it. One more back to back. See if we got these settings right, and then we'll let it cool off to do a final power run. I think I got all the settings right. Let it cool off for quite a bit, so let's do one last power run here. Back into your spot here, folks. I want to go home because I'm hungry. And we're ready to go here. Start. Forward. So that peak number was 421 horsepower. Let's freaking go.
There's a chance that we're gonna have to play with the settings on the street because that was hugging the boost cut the entire run. It was at 8.5 pounds the entire run, and it might get past that on the street if we're in like 4th gear or something. But with that, boost kicks in faster. I mean, nothing crazy, but at 3,000 RPM and it's making, let's see, almost 20 more horsepower. So I mean, that's significant. And that stays all the way until 4,000 where the 2 runs are pretty much the same, 2 setups, I should say. And then at 5,000, the 2 runs separate. On the old setup, it would taper off. The new setup holds it very nicely all the way to redline. Peak of the old one was at 56, peak of the new one is at 62. So that's another 500 RPM of power. So I mean, the results are definitely good. Now, would I love to turn the boost controller up more? Yes, I wanna see what this thing makes on 12 pounds of boost, but needs a new map sensor and probably new rods for that. Now we gotta take this thing off the dyno, lower the front end and see what it does on the street. It's actually just so nice having a boost gauge that I can see. So I have one in my center console, but it's a glow shift one, and the actual gauge is so recessed from the face that I can't see 0 through 10, so it doesn't matter. I mean, that's positive pressure right there. Like, this thing makes boost so easily. Oh, that would be boost cut, 9.5 pounds. That's unfortunate, very unfortunate. But like, just like that, I can fix it, you know? So that's cool. 9 pounds again. I think I have to turn gain down a little bit. That was 8.9 pounds of boost. So I think boost cut's actually at 9 pounds. Shifts it doesn't like. There we go. I decided we should probably go onto the highway so I can really ring out 3rd, see how this boost holds. .7 pounds of boost, holds it perfectly throughout the entire thing. It definitely feels faster because it's pulling more left and right. The torque here is definitely more intense. And I can tell because my adrenaline's a little higher than it is normally driving this thing. Oh, I miss this car. Actually, shift it quick this time and see if it can handle the shift without boost cutting. Oh, beautiful. 8.8 pounds of boost, holds it all the way. Very nice. It spins a little in 3rd too when you shift it fast now. Definitely faster. Definitely faster. My only one complaint about this entire thing. I wish I could change the color of the gauge on the boost controller. Because it's sick. I love having that little gauge there, especially on this bar. Like, and then it's got a data log. Like, it's so cool, but it's blue. And this entire interior is red. All the AM gauges, the other gauge, everything's red, and then you got a big old blue sore thumb in the top left. I'll take the 40 horsepower for the blue gauge. It's a good deal. Good deal, Dreddy, good deal. So guys, that is it for this video. I'm super happy with the results. The new intercooler setup looks awesome and performs great. That'll be ready for as much horsepower I want to throw at it, and the new boost controller is also awesome. Now what happens next? It's kind of up to you guys. I would love to keep this car, to take it to the track, to possibly put a new motor in it, a built motor, at least put an LSD in it, you know, do more mods, make it faster, and make more content with it. But I can only do that if it's successful and things start becoming more successful. EP3 ain't doing that well, and I might need to sell a car. Let's just put it that way. So if you've ever wanted to support the channel, especially if you want to support this specific project and you want to see more of it, please check out
the things that you can check out. We have the Forgotten Honda shirt or other merchandise you can buy, like the poster of this car. We have things like Patreon, where you can donate to the channel and get exclusive rewards for that. Things like the videos early, free merchandise, daily updates, etc. And then we have all the sponsors that you guys can support, because you supporting them supports me. So things like Hybrid Racing. If you wanted to buy a part for your Honda, you can use my link. Or Eastwood, or Vibrant, or any of the other sponsors. Thank you to anyone who does any of those things. Your support does not go unnoticed, especially on this channel. This is a pretty small channel, and I really try to put a lot of effort into these videos. I mean, this was probably 50 to 60 hours worth of work. I did everything in the one video. I didn't make you guys wait for the dyno results. I didn't make you guys wait for the street driving. Right? Yeah. Now, meanwhile, while this has been happening, I've been working on the drift truck in the background. That's what all those wheels and tires are for. We're taking it to a drift event Saturday, which is in a couple days here. That'll be the next video. It'll be redoing the suspension on the drift truck, rebuilding the entire rear suspension, replacing the front steering rack, redoing the front steering shaft. It'll be finishing the fuel cell, finishing the differential breather, aligning the truck, and taking it to a drift event. All in one video, because that's how Gingium does it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.